Hey, my name is JC, and welcome to the Pro Talk podcast brought to you by Housecall Pro, the software that tens of thousands of home service professionals use all across the country to run their businesses. In this episode, you're going to be meeting Sam Jimenez. He's the owner of Bayshore Plumbers in Redwood City, California. He's going to be sharing his experience on how he became the owner of Bayshore Plumbers and the experiences that helped shape him to be the leader that he is today. We hope that this podcast episode not only provides you hope during this challenging time, but also provides strategies on how to grow your business. Well, today we have our friend Sam Jimenez. He is the owner of Bayshore Plumbers in Redwood City, Northern California, for those who don't know it. And he's got an interesting story. He's going to be sharing it on how he got his business started, some of the key tips and tricks, success part of his story, and even his failures that he will share so that you pros out there can be better equipped and learn from his mistakes even. We'll also touch on the COVID-19 and see how his business is doing amidst the current crisis that we're facing as a country. We're excited to get started. So thanks so much, Sam, for jumping on with us.
No, JC, it's we jived pretty well from the last interview. Definitely looking forward to this one. When you hit me up on Sunday, some time back, I was pretty excited about it. Getting out here and getting on this interview. It's exposure for my company. Also, it refines me a little bit. So I might screw things up. You're talking about failure. Hey, I'm a nug. At the end of the day, failure-based learning is the best teacher. So I think that's something that I learned in the military. It's funny that in the military, in any military scenario, storyline, or just training, you're losing. You always lose. It would frustrate the hell out of me. I grew up playing a lot of sports, working out, and getting into the military. And it didn't matter what we did as a team or collectively or individual, we would always lose. It was always an uphill battle, and it made the real life combat or kinetic operations a little bit easier because you were loosely losing. You come across an enemy that you just can't win, and then you come across an enemy that isn't as good as the opposition force that you would normally face in training. You learn to kick ass really quick. So it's the way I've learned. It's the way I've kind of done this business, and my story for the business and how I started. I mean, it goes way back. Even though this is, let's say, an hour interview, I wouldn't be able to cover it all. Because it's different for me. It's different from my family. I mean, the Jimenez family, Jimenez Vega, Lario's family, has been doing plumbing for forever. I'm second generation plumber. My dad and my uncle kind of started doing plumbing here. Something that wasn't even that popular at the time. So I'm, at the end of the day, I'm an immigrant son. I take pride in that. I think it's an edge, and coming from that background and learning that, hard work is the way to get things done. You're going to fail. To this day, my dad still has a very strong accent, never held him back. Mm-hmm. So going out there and working and learning the trades. At first our family was digging the ditches. Later on, you learn the skill. And now we're plumbing owners. I mean, I would say we probably have, within my brothers and my cousins, probably own about 6 or 7 plumbing companies. And that's a success story that you normally see. That's the natural progression of any immigrant. And that's what my father came to the country and taught us how to work hard. And from there, we've built upon that, So the story of how I got started, I think I've just always been around.
Let me interrupt you because, see, this is the thing I love about Sam. Sam is he's super humble, and that's part of his leadership. Confident in his leadership based off of all the trials and tribulations he's faced and the discipline that he's learned, not just from his family, but also in the military. And, you alluded to this earlier, and I wanted to show you something that I was just kind of fiddling with. I don't know if you could see it, but...
Dude, I haven't even got you my let me see on my desk here.
And for those of you who and obviously for those of you who are, you might be viewing this right now on YouTube, but for you listeners, what I'm holding right now is called a challenge coin, right? Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. And
Yes.
Sam gave me this as a token of friendship and just us hanging out when we did an interview. He helped us out. He's an Excel in the Excel program for Housecall Pro, and we got to film some pretty fun things. And he's on a couple of our ads, and so yeah, I was fiddling with this. What I wanted to hear, and I'm sure that you'll touch on this, is your military experience and what you had done in your military experience and how you applied that to your company. But I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, jump into how you got started, because you were a plumber, but then you took some steps to go in a different direction for a season in your life, and then fast forward, here you are as the owner of Bayshore Plumbing. That's a short story of it, but give us a more detailed version.
No, you pretty much covered everything. It's not the coolest story in the world, but it is a story. So like you said, I was a plumber. I was working for my dad, my uncle, my brothers, older brothers. I'm the youngest of three, and a plumber. All three of us are plumbers, and my dad is. So it's what was talked about in the dinner table. We have family reunions. All the cousins and uncles got together. All we talked about was plumbing. And it's not something that I didn't like. I mean, it's what we knew. It was the family trade. I remember getting to about the age of 22 and thinking, not that I could do better than everyone else. I had my cousin, his name's Michael, and he wanted to go to the Marine Corps. I've always been, I've always looked at my older cousins and friends for leadership advice or just mentorship. And he joined the Marine Corps. I was like, man, I've always wanted to, as a kid, I always wanted to be a GI Joe, and I played with little toy soldiers. And I'm like, well, he's going to go do it. I want to do it too. We ended up joining around the same time. He ended up joining the Marine Corps. I got an opportunity with the Army to try out for this program that they still have. It's a program you go from pretty much a civilian, myself a plumber, go through the pipeline. About 3.5 years later, you come out as a Green Beret. So I was successfully completed that. Huge part of my life. It was a long time. And it wasn't me getting away from plumbing. It's like I can't get away from it, right? So I ended up taking off. I moved to the East Coast. I moved away from everybody. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's probably just the story of my life pre-written. But I ended up in Afghanistan after a few years. Pipeline become operational. Started deploying. I don't know if it was my second deployment in Afghanistan. And we find ourselves, my best friend, Kevin, awesome guy. And we find ourselves he knew my background. We started the whole program together. So me and him are together on this base, teammates, years down the road. And we come across a situation where the Army delivers this, it was like basically a shipping container, but a bathroom, right? You kind of see them at weddings or whatever, really upgraded. And they put it on our base. And they were like, okay, well, the Seabees from the Navy can come in about 2 months to set it up. And we're like, hey, we're here in like 4 months. What are we going to go without showers this whole time, not have running water? And this is circa 2012. So we're doing the village stability operation thing, living in a village and running water. And we had we had some running water, but nobody to hook up these bathrooms. I remember telling my team sergeant, I said, hey, Jimmy, I can hook this up. I'm a plumber, right? Yeah, whatever, man. So Kevin goes and he sources all the materials. It's local contractors, whatever, gets all this material, some of it coming out of our own pockets to get this, PVC fittings and whatnot. Get it to the base, piping it all, and we plumb in this bathroom and run water and sewer. There's a septic tank nearby that we hooked up, dug it up, and buried. It's funny. My wife even has pictures of it with me and Kevin in tank tops. Sourcing this thing in the Kandahar desert, and it's a picture that I keep on my desk here. It's my beautiful wife, Krishna there.
There you go.
That's where I met her. And I don't think she was all that impressed with the plumbing part of it, but, it was me peacocking in a way. But we get out there, we plumb this thing up, and it works. Everybody's happy. We got running water. It's great to have a plumber, just like it is nowadays. You got a homeowner. It's great to know a good, honest plumber at the end of the day. Fast forward there, of course, they had come back and do some plumbing at home during vacation or some time off, did some reserve time, did some plumbing back with my uncle again, my brothers, some other contractors. I find myself in northern Africa one day, and we're driving in a convoy. We got some civilian armored vehicles that we got from an embassy, and we're just driving through these little village. And the last guy on the convoy, my buddy Johnny, he turns a corner too fast, and he dings the whole village watering hole. Like they had some plumbing done there, and he breaks it. It was a peak, I believe. So he breaks it. Water starts coming. Nobody sees it. I'm in the front of the convoy, and all these guys jump on motorcycles, and they just start following us. And there's like 30 guys, and they just start adding. You know, they follow us all the way down to our, what would be considered like a safe house or a team house, whatever.
Dude, and this is sounding like a movie right now. Let me tell you. So you got a caravan being followed by a group of motorcyclists. That doesn't even sound as badass, but they're coming after you. So then what?
So we're start racing. We're trying to kind of trying to lose them. Like, well, what are we gonna do? So at the end, it's like, all right, well, it's not like we're in some secret mission here or anything. So we got some of the government escorts, some local nationals that kind of provide security, local law enforcement or police there, maybe military. We pull into our compound, and obviously these guys come out and draw down on the security guys come out and draw down on all these guys that are following us. And so we're like, what are they trying to do? These guys, there's a bunch of yelling. I don't speak Arabic, unfortunately, and they're just going back and forth. And finally, it starts coming across. The interpreters say, "Hey, you guys broke their water." And I said, "No, we didn't. We just, back in the village, you guys broke to it." Johnny comes from behind the crowd and says, "Yeah, it was me. I saw the water come out, and I don't know, man. I wasn't going to get left behind. I didn't know how friendly the people were, but I broke it." So he comes clean with it. So I say, "Okay, no big deal." I took charge of the situation there because I could. I said, "Hey, I'm a plumber. I'll fix it." And I remember these angry guys. They're just like, "You're a soldier. You're not a plumber," And they'd call us. Even we were in civilian clothes, but it was like, "You're a soldier. You're not a plumber." I was like, "I'll take care of it. Let's go back there and we'll fix this for you guys. No worries." They're all angry, And we jump back in the convoy. A couple of security detail guys, and we go out there, and we get back to that little village, and we jump out of the truck, and now it's the local water, and everybody there, running water. We take that for granted here in America, right? So we get there, and there's like a bunch of, now we got the angry teenagers or dudes with their mopeds, and we got a bunch of ladies that are angry because they don't have water. What are they gonna wash dishes with, right? What do they flush their toilets down with? And so they're all gathered, and there's probably like 50, 60 people. They had already shut off the water for us, and so we arrive, and it's like, okay, well, kind of assess the situation. I saw there's one pipe sticking up, the guy broke it, and we got to do a repair. There was not a supply house, but a hardware store, just like maybe 2 blocks away. I asked them, "Hey, hardware store," They point the way. We go over there. We buy it. Kevin and I, again, we buy all the material. We come back. We get some additional bricks, some mortar, and some of the teammates are like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do." The Charlies on our team, they study even construction in the Special Forces qualification course. So they start putting together these bricks, and I start doing the plumbing. We build a little wall behind it, and I do all the plumbing really quick. And I grew up plumbing. It was some PE material, and get some straps, and I strap all. So before they only had 1 hose bib for the village. Now I put in 5 of them. So I split it off. I teed it off, and I provided them with we even put a little base there for them to put their buckets not in the mud, and a little wall to strap the pipe. And so we get it, and everybody's just looking skeptically, like, "What are they?" You got these Americans out here that are putting all this plumbing together, and some of them kind of join in and start helping mix the mortar and all that stuff. So their attitude starts kind of changing.
Because they're getting an upgrade at this point. Is that?
Yeah, guys are coming around, like patting us on the back, and even though we don't even understand them, they seem to be happy, right? We strap together, turn on the water, and turn all of them on. ladies come flocking in, messing up the concrete we just did, putting on the buckets and filling up their waters. You know, they start doing those well, they're weird to us as Americans. They start doing their little dances and doing their little tongue noise that they do down there, and the women are super happy about it. And the guys are coming up, and everybody's happy. There's some old guy who assumes like the village elder, the neighborhood guy. He comes over, kind of thanks us, and they offer us to go and have a meal with them. You know, which unfortunately we had to get back. Couldn't do. Would have loved to. Some of the guys might have thought they would get sick, but thinking back on, maybe we should have. I didn't know much about rapport then, but we got this water spouts for these guys, and they were happy. You know. So plumbing has followed me through my military career. Those are just two experiences. I've done several of those in different places, different countries. But that one kind of stands out because I was put up for an award for it. You know, the guys, my own teammates were like, "Yeah, that's awesome. You know, we got to put them up for an award. I got like an RCOM or something."
All thanks to one guy busting a pipe as he's driving in the caravan.
Yeah, and that just comes back and it triples down to what I do today. You show up to a job site. Any good contractor knows you show up to a job site and you got to leave it better than you got there. You show up to a job and the garage is a mess. Add value by cleaning up the garage. Don't wait till them to ask you. We just kind of organize things a little bit, clean it up, make sure we walk out of there and the job site's better than when you started. Right. The whole site, you know, clean up your sewer, get everything nice and clean. It's something that I really instill with the guys. It's like, hey, and I don't go around telling the guys my stories, but that's something that I learned. It was a valuable lesson because even though we broke it, we fixed it and we made it better.
Yeah, you totally.
So that's a life lesson for me and the people that were there involved, and it's something that's, you know, years later now as a business owner, it's something that I continue to apply, and life is a teacher at the end of the day. It works out, but yeah, man. As far as getting back to the original question, that was my military experience. It starts bleeding down. I years later, even after that water incident there, find myself back in Afghanistan. I get, it's some minor injuries, wear and tear and whatnot. And, you know, I don't have like some cool story, right? You know, you get shot in the gut or anything. Nothing like that. Just some wear and tear on my knees and everything else from humping around. So, but I think it's like 3 years ago, about last week, we were humping around Afghanistan, the mountains of Afghanistan. And I don't know if you remember the big mother of all bombs dropped. I was there. I was able to witness it. Got some cool cell phone pictures that I think I showed you. And so I end up not coming back the same. Just some wear and tear. And at the same time, unbeknownst to me, my uncle's looking for an exit strategy. So I've always kept in touch with him. I think it was his plan all along. I was plumbing, working for him. We was helping him build the business, and I bail out of him. Which
he's the original owner of Bayshore Plumbers.
Yeah. So he built this machine, and you know, quick side note. I think I told you last time. Just kind of caveat there. We're building this business together. I think I'm employee number one. We end up hiring another guy, and we're building this up. Don't even have a shop. We're working out of a storage place, you know. And I keep mouthing off about the military, that I want to go, and, you know, I want to go to war. And, you know, I'm getting old and I haven't done it. You know, I'm told, you know, ripe old age of 22. And he's like, hey, you gotta start, you know, I remember on a job site, and he's like, you gotta just shut up about your whole military thing. If you're gonna do it, just go do it. If not, get back to work. You know, all you do is talk about that. You know, I heard you talk to a customer about it. It's driving me crazy. Either just go do it. Never be a talker, be a doer. I don't think it had the effect that he wanted. Maybe he thought I was just going to shut up about the military. You know, I stuck out a recruiter. They were like, hey, you know, you're fit, you know, you're smart enough. I'll get you into the special forces program. Maybe he just needed to meet a quota or whatever, but he told me a lot of pretty things. And I get out and I come back to my uncle and I was like, hey, I'm joining the military. You know, here's this, you know, here's the paperwork. I'm gonna go be a Green Beret, like Rambo. And you know, it's funny because he was just like, really? He's like, well, shoot, man.
I didn't think you were really gonna do it.
You know, it's like, what am I gonna do? I gotta hire somebody. I mean, what do you mean you're gonna go? I was like, hey, you told me to stop talking about it and go do it. Fast forward, I end up going to basic training, and he doesn't stop paying me. I remember my first phone call, like back in those days, which isn't even that long ago, we didn't have access to cell phones. I didn't even think I owned a cell phone, but we after about I think it was a few weeks or months maybe, I got a phone call. So I phoned back, and I talked to my ex-wife now, and I say, hey, what's the deal? How are you financially? Because I didn't really think about that whole thing.
Because you were at a point where, and this all happened super fast, right? Because I remember you were telling about it was like, man, it happened real fast. I didn't even really consider the financial implications of the move that I made, and you were kind of in a tough position, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was a kid. At the end of the day, I was a young kid that didn't have much. I think I was making like $10 an hour or something. I don't know. It was wasn't making much. I'm working for an uncle. He knew how to cut costs, and I was one of them. So I ended up calling. Hey, your direct deposit checks are still coming in. It probably wasn't much. At the time, it was probably like $500, $400 a week.
From your uncle?
From my uncle. I was direct deposited to my account, and it hasn't stopped coming. And I've already spent the money. I needed the money for rent. I needed the money for all these other things. So I'm like, oh shoot, like, how am I going to pay him back? So I got a drill sergeant yelling in my ear and hanging up the phone for me because you don't have certain seconds. And so I'm going through basic training thinking about this, like, oh man, I hope he stops paying it soon. Finally, I get another phone call, and I call, and I don't call my family. I call my uncle, and I said, hey, I've already, you kept depositing into my account, and I've already spent it. I don't have. He's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. I'll have time my cousin. I'll have her to take care of it. She'll sort that out. And I was like, I can't pay you back. He's like, I'll figure something out. He was always chill. Like when it didn't come to work, come to anything else, he just like chill as a cucumber, right? So I'm like, oh, he's like, don't worry about it. Concentrate on what you're doing there. Don't worry about back home. And he continued to pay me for 5 years.
5 years, wow.
5 years with raises. So when he would give I started with, he would give him a raise. He gave me a raise. Finally, one day, I come home. I think it was Christmas or Thanksgiving or something. And we got together, and he says, he kind of pulls me aside and kind of sheepishly says, hey, I picked up a business partner to help me out with the company, and he's not really cool with me sharing, paying somebody that's not even here. And I look at him and like, are you serious? I mean, I've never asked for this. Thank you for everything you've done, but dude, please don't apologize that you're gonna wean me off. I mean, that's the coolest thing ever. I've told you to stop so many times, and now I think I owe you a lot of money. Probably do. Eventually, I'm gonna have to pay you back. We'll figure it out later. But I've got to cut you off right now. It's not cool with my business partner. So fast forward there.
So that was so just to follow along. You were saying so for 5 years he had done it. By year 5, around Christmas, he kind of takes you aside and is like, hey, I got a business partner. We're going to have to make some changes. He doesn't feel comfortable with the setup that we've got. And you're like, I wasn't even expecting any of this, man. So please don't apologize for taking,
is that he asked me, hey, are you making enough to cover your costs? I'm like, yeah. At the time I was going through a divorce then. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I've made it. I'm staff sergeant now. My wages are fine. I make some decent money. He's like, okay, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. And I mean, who does that, right? Who pays you for nothing? And maybe it was just his master plan. He always thinks 20 years ahead. But he ends up weaning me off, right? I end up working. I mean, didn't make that much of a financial change, living in North Carolina and Florida. And I come back doing some National Guard time here, and I start working again. End up going to Afghanistan again. And that's the end of the caveat there. I'm in Afghanistan during about 3 years ago around this time. And when I come back, I got some back pains, got some foot pains. The sergeant major, Hank, as soon as everybody gets in, he buses all to the VA to register all of our injuries, aches, pains, and he's adamant about it. So they find out some stuff that that's really not going to get better, right? So I was able to continue to this day. I still in the National Guard, and I was able to continue serving, but I was rated with some disability. That's how I run the disabled veteran owned business thing, and I still serve at the same time. It's not, I'm not handicapped, right?
Right.
So I ended up coming back from Afghanistan for that trip, went to that VA thing, come home, and my uncle's like, "Hey, I didn't work out with that last business partner some years back." He's like, "Yeah, I'm looking to bring you back on. You come back on as an owner." And I look at him like, "Sure, of course. I'm just going to turn down that." I said, "Yeah, definitely. I'll come back, and so we'll kick this on again and try to pick up where we left off." This is maybe 10, 11 years later, right? And he gets me back in, and I remember, touching back on the failure part, I screw up everything, and I don't know where he learned his leadership style, because it was totally different than when I was a kid. Now I'm in my, 33 now. And he just lets me fail over and over and over. And I underbid. And I mean, when I left plumbing, it was fixing a toilet, replacing, angle stops, flex lines, really basic, snaking a drain here and there, maybe replacing a water heater. That's as big as it got, right? I come back 11 years later, and there's trenchless sewer lines. There are, every truck has got a camera. We have like 13 or 14 trucks. I mean, you filmed them all. And the service guys all over the place. The company's grown. It's got a warehouse, and it's grown so much from when I left it. And everything's changed. The size of the projects. I'm no longer fixing faucets. I'm sitting in an office, and I'm typing things out, and I'm going out to some jobs, and now I'm selling services and whatnot, and but everything's changed. I was able to kind of reach back, and the only experience I don't have any formal business education, right? I've learned it all from books, and I don't even have that much actual education, formal education, So I take what I got, take my skills, and I fail a bunch of times, and finally I start getting it right. I start turning that page. And I start making the company profitable, and we were able to grow the company a little bit. During that time, very early in that, we incorporated Housecall Pro, and which made things a lot easier. Start getting those things going, implementing some military stuff, because at the end of the day, it was just the way I was wired, I guess. And like I said, we start kind of turning more closer to the profitability goals, right? So he starts kind of taking a foot back. So he says, "Hey, you know what? I come in 4 days a week. I'm going to start coming in 3 days a week." He starts really pushing into development. He had a house a little further down in the valley where he would go, buy houses, fix them up, either sell them or rent them. Whatever, that was his passion, right? He loved real estate. Starts focusing on that a little bit more, and kind of building up a real estate empire there, if you will. Starts leaving me more and more responsibilities here at the shop. He still came in. I still had access to him, basically to this day. I still call him, for almost every day for, "Hey, I've never seen this. Been doing it for 40 years or whatever. How can I do this? Or what's the best way to approach this?" But during that time, I'm calling him less and less and less, and I start taking a little bit more ownership. And then he says, "Hey, guess what? You already bought into the company. I brought you in as a partner. I'm looking to retire." And I'm like, "Wow, like when?" "Oh, like in 6 months."
So when you guys were going through this, and you were making the mistakes and kind of getting back into the groove of things in this industry that's advanced and has new technologies and new ways of doing things, what year was it that he shared with you, I'm looking to retire"? Like at what point during that time was that like shift of mindset and vision, and hey, we need to start thinking transition?
Oh no, it was only like 6, 7 months ago. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that much longer after our last interview. He was already kind of in the conversation. around that time, but he started really pulling back and letting me lead things, letting me fail, letting me do things. It's funny because I at the beginning, back when I came back 2017, final quarter that year. I mean, I was screwing things up so bad. I cost him a lot of money, I think, because 100 bidding jobs. I didn't understand it yet. I hadn't got it, and so he let me learn on his dime. And then once I learned and I started kind of changing things around, he saw that I had that. He made sure that I had the capability. Then he started drawing away from it, and then he finally just said, "Hey, buy me out," which I'm probably going to be paying him for a long time. So in a way, I think, and in an indirect way, he probably secured himself a retirement in a fashion. He brought me back. He parted ways with his last business partner, brought me back, and taught me, trained me in a mentee mentorship role, and then he just left me with the business, and which I'm going to be paying off for some time now. So that's how I ended up with the company.
Yeah, which it's like and just to bring clarity to it, in the back of his mind, he probably knew this was the end goal. It was like, I'm gonna Sam's gonna take this on, and I'm gonna step out. I'm gonna go retirement mode. But how many years was the learning curve? Was it a year? Was it 2 years? Was it months? Because I do remember when I came down there, you had told me, oh yeah, this is like, I think your uncle was down in Mexico at the time, right, on vacation, just diving into retirement. And I said, so how long have you been, the owner, the primary sole owner of this company? And I think you said like a month. Was it a month?
I guess, yeah. I guess it was. Like I guess it was. Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't like you were just handed something, right? It was there was a learning curve. How long was that learning curve before your uncle felt comfortable to go, all right, it's time?
I think I probably held him back from retirement, trying to go chase my dreams, and I'm all about chasing dreams. But I think I probably held him back a little bit. And for him bringing me back, for all I know, it was probably his plan all along. I don't think I'd like to believe I was his favorite nephew, but I think some of it has to do with maybe just dumb luck. But I do believe, like, for instance, life is like a road. Luck is a truck, and you got to just get out there and put yourself on the road to get hit by that luck truck, if you will. So there was things that I had to do. There was a personality that I had to forge, a person that I had to become, to put myself in a position where somebody would say, hey, you know what? That's the guy I believe in. Maybe he didn't believe in anything else or anything I said, but he believed in me. He knew I had that capability. Maybe he saw it a lot sooner. Like I kind of briefly alluded to it. I literally think that he would think, or he still continues to think, 20 years ahead. And he's a chess player. I like to believe that, just for my own ego, I guess. Or maybe some people say, oh, Sam has what he has because, well, his uncle just left him everything.
Which isn't the case. Yeah, I mean, you earned it.
It is. Yeah, it is and it isn't. I think it's same people say that about our current president. He's like, oh, he inherited a bunch of money, but what did he do with that money? He made it a lot more, right? Nobody's am I any Donald Trump, and obviously I wish to have the things he has and achieve what he's achieved, not the presidency, of course, but I think that it's just like a job site. You got to leave it better than where you started, and I try to do that, and that's something that he taught me as well. And at the end, that's just it, man. I like to think that I have some attributes that he liked, that he considered, and it have to be. One thing that it's funny that I never got a lot of. I grew up in a obviously relatively conservative family, and there wasn't a lot of like emotional connection. There wasn't a lot of like positive feedback at all, even from my father. Great guy, love the guy, learned a lot from him. But but my uncle, I don't think I can ever remember him saying anything nice about my work or anything nice about how I did things or anything like that he liked about me. It wasn't there. I had to chase it. And maybe for years and years, I chased his approval because he was like the one all the nephews looked up to. You know, he was the guy in my family, in my immigrant family, that kind of changed our stripes. We went from being landscapers and gardeners and all the jobs that you take on when you come to this country, and we end up becoming business owners and entrepreneurs and real estate developers and all that stuff, right? And my mom went out and got an education. We changed who we were. We made it better, and I think he was kind of the pillar of all that. He was the first one to kind of break out. You know, he's definitely the first millionaire in our family, right? So I always kind of pursued his. You know, if he said, "Hey, he did a good job," it would make your year, not your day. It would make your year if you heard something positive. Yeah. And he would, because other people would tell me what he thought about me, but I would never hear from him. I think he did it on purpose. I think he wanted that. He wanted to me to earn his approval or chase his approval. Maybe he didn't have. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have his father's approval. I don't know. But I think that helped. You know, that helped that keep that drive going, and to chase that compliment. And I've run this business trying to earn his respect. And even though I like to believe I've achieved it, and I think I have, because he left me with everything. You know, I've got to pay for it, but he chose me out of other bunch of cousins that we have that could have done the same job, and also contractors. But my point being that that he must have seen something, and he never said it to me, and that's fine, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that that's something that I can continue chasing, and maybe I don't know if I do that with my kids. I probably do, just because that's the way I was raised. I like to think I'm a little bit more liberal with my self praise. My therapist calls it labeled praise, and maybe I should do more of it, or maybe not. I mean, maybe the way I was raised makes you a man. I recently read a book from Stephen Arnio, which totally blew my mind. It's Hard Times Make Strong Man, or something to that effect. It's a great book. And I think that kind of culture is just kind of lacking today. And the whole, hey, everybody gets a participation medal, I don't think it applies. It definitely doesn't apply in business. It just doesn't work in the real world.
Right.
So that's me kind of going off on a tangent. I don't mean to get
no. So, and then let me say this too, Sam. I mean, I could totally relate to you because so I was, I mean, not to turn this around and be about me, but I was born in the Philippines, got here at a young age. My dad served for 23 years in the Navy, and by the way, let me just say this: thank you so much for your service, man. Thank you.
It's hard to hear that when it was your dream job,
right? Right. But I mean, what a great, yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks for doing that. But like I said, I can relate to you because there is this aspect of, man, we are in this world, this country, and there's so much opportunity. That's what I love about our country. I love about our pros when I hear these success stories. And let me say it this way: I don't come from a risk-taking culture, if you will, right? Joe Coy has these jokes, and it's funny because it's true. And it's like we go for what is stable. Our culture does that, and yet we're creative, we're artistic, we've adapted. I mean, our country in the Philippines has been conquered by so many different, people groups in other countries, and so there's this mix of different aspects of adaptability. And so, while we have all of these things, we find ourselves in this kind of a non-risk-taking culture. And so when I talk to our pros like you, I'm like, man, it's amazing how your uncle has clearly changed the generations that are to come. It's changed where you're going, which you're investing and building. It's going to change the lives of your kids and their kids, and it's amazing with that opportunity. So I could totally relate to you on that level, and the hard work I too have that unique relationship with my father where I feel like it's now that I'm in my 30s that I'm feeling like he hadn't really said it, but I can get a sense that he is proud, having seen the risks that I've taken and what we've done with our lives, thus far. So I relate to you, man. Pivoting to the way that you run your business, given your military experience. You were sharing with me before that you kind of took a lot of what you learned in the military and simply applied it to how you run the business. Can you speak a little into that?
I kind of touched on it. I guess maybe it's just all I knew as far as organization, and I didn't. I didn't do it on purpose. I would say I did it out of like, how do I get this done? So my uncle being completely off, hands off. I'm there if you need me, but figure it out. He was the type of guy, like, I'm giving him a call. He offers a little bit more advice now, but he's one of those guys like, hey man, figure it out. Especially when he was in a bad mood, right? Figure it out. So always trying to find a better way to do things has just kind of been my goal, or been kind of me. Right? It's not because I'm lazy, but just like in combat, you fall on your highest level of training or your lowest. You just fall on the training you've received. Fresh out of the military, growing up, let's just say, 11 years serving. I just, what do you normally talk about? What you do every day, right? I couldn't see past, if I needed to structure the company, if I was seeking out efficiency, I would have to structure it in the most efficient way that I knew how. And I think at least the Army does a great way of dumbing things down. And it's not that dummies aren't in the Army. I don't believe that for a second. I think it's the most intelligent people that I've ever met serve. But they do a great job to level the playing field where it's hard to get it wrong if you listen. So being efficient is something that I really focused on. And as far as efficiency, I wouldn't structuring my company in a military form is something that I've been able to do so that I don't have to answer my phone 24/7 because somebody's kid got sick and they need to take a day off. I put myself, let's say, the commander. I've got my right hand man on operations is my sergeant major, right? Everybody underneath us are basically ODAs or teams. I have 12 of them, but they're broken down into teams. Whenever something happens at the bottom, it has several layers to reach to be solved at the lowest level before it reaches me. It reaches out to me, because if it reaches out to me and something's really bad, on top of that, when I ever do answer the phone, I had a commander that would always say, I don't want to hear problems, I want to hear solutions. So whenever my guys would call me, I said, why are you calling me with a problem? Call me when you have a solution. Call me to brag about the problem you had, and this is how you fixed it. I don't want to hear you call and it's like coming into my office and just and giving me your problem so that I could solve it for you. Solve the problem at your lowest level. The 1 minute manager meets the monkey, right? Or the monkey meets the 1 minute manager, whatever it is. It's a great book, and essentially it describes this, or the way I understand it's like me being out in the warehouse, one of my guys approaching, and one of the plumbers, and they have this problem represented by a monkey. While he's telling me about his problem, I imagine a monkey kind of getting off his back, putting one leg on mine, slowly moving onto my shoulders, and him dumping his problem off on me for me to find the solution. Therefore, I got to go think about it. He takes off monkey free. He's going to go golfing or wherever they do on their time off. I come back to my office where there's a bunch of monkeys bouncing off all over the walls, and now I got his monkey to solve too. When I was able to turn around and tell the guys, hey, I want to hear solutions, not problems, it resonated with the guys. My phone stopped ringing nonstop. The guys stopped bombarding me with problems in the morning. I empowered them just like you would a team leader, a squad leader, a platoon sergeant, or whatever. You got in an ODA, you got your specialty leader, you've got your commander, you got your warrant, you got your team sergeant. But more than anything, every single guy has a mentor. I came onto the teams as the junior echo, junior communications sergeant. I had an awesome leader or section leader, which if I had any problems, they'd go to him. He knew everything about comms. He knew everything. I'd go to him. I pretty much knew everything about everything, but I'd go to him with my problem and it'd get solved right there. I didn't jump him and go straight to the commander. Maybe I went to the team sergeant, but it all got filtered, all the problems. So when a problem happens in the job, let's see, I don't know, a P-trap breaks, whatever, they just call the next guy on the chain of command. That guy, if that guy can't fix it, he calls the next guy up. He calls the next guy up. So just having that is giving me a lot more time to do what I do best. I'm still involved in sales, and now I'm managing sales, but it clears my path to do what a CEO does, is the vision of the company, where I want to take it. What direction do I want to take the company? And I'm not worrying about a broken P-trap. I'm not thinking about a broken line underneath the house and a fitting that doesn't work, because inevitably I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll try to help the guy. That's what I do. I got to help the guys, right? I'm one of the guys that got to help. I'll stop what I'm doing and I find out I did it yesterday. The guy calls me up and says, "Hey, I got a problem with this line. What solution? Can you send me some pictures?" I stop what I'm doing. I run over to the supply house to figure something out, see if there's some special fitting that'll make that thing work, right? I solved the problem. I took his monkey, I solved it for him, and then I fed it back to him. I should have done that, but I do, right?
When you need to, right?
And a lot of times I don't need to, but I want to. It's hard for me not to help somebody, their teammates, at the end of the day, right? But it's distracting. So my phone, even right now, it's probably going off, but I have one guy who calls me and that's it. Mm-hmm. It all filters to him. If there's an ass chewing that needs to happen, I chew that guy, who then chews down the other guys. Right. I only have to talk to one guy. And that helped me out as far as structure, as far as operations and getting jobs done. I broke guys into, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie teams, right? So on my board, I got them color coded, right? I don't think you can see it, but they're color coded what job they're going to go to, and they know their color, and I know where they're going to be and who's going to go do it. I've allocated enough time, and which is a huge thing. It's time hacks. The military is really, really good at time hacks, and I give the guys, you've got 2 days to do this job. I don't want to hear about it's going to take longer. I don't want to hear about that we need more materials. I don't want to hear the problem. You're going to find out how to do it in this compressed timeline, and learn that from mission planning, because it's like if you allocate all that time, you're going to use up all of it, right? So I allocate them I give them a time hack. They get it done in that time, and I tell them, hey, there's no excuse for overtime unless you're not going out there the next day and they need to get you on another job. You're going to get that job done. Usually they do. I did it yesterday. The guy's calling me like, hey, we're going to stay a little late. I said, no, you're not. You're going to get the job done. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to get it done. You're going to either work faster or you're going to get the job done. Your time hack is your time hack. I got another job starting tomorrow, and you're not going to slow it down because you want her to take a longer lunch, or because you want her to be sluggish in the afternoon because it's warm. I mean, in California, it's hot here right now. So it's so they yeah. I mean, they probably put in about a half hour of overtime, and they come back and they're all apologetic in the shop and like, hey, sorry, it took us a little longer, but we got it done, right? If I would have said, oh, yeah, no problem, they'd be going out there today and finish it up. If there's no time hacks, you're just going to fill up the time that you're allocated, right? So that's something I learned in the military.
So you obviously run a tight ship.
Business, yeah,
right. And going back from the transition of your uncle moving closer and closer to retirement, how did your team, how did the employees handle this? Knowing that your uncle was still the owner of the company, and you mm-hmm. were changing things around, applying these structures, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. How did they respond to that?
It was tough. It wasn't easy. I think a lot of the guys, I would hear the comments and that would filter all the way to me that, oh, this guy's a better plumber than Sam. and that's fine. After a while, I kept hearing it, and I'll just kind of smile, and laugh, whatever. And I was like, these guys think I want to be a plumber. Like, so, like I don't want to be a plumber. I got to run a plumbing business. Maybe you can be both. My uncle was. He was the best plumber and one of the smartest businessmen that I've known.
What, hold on. Before you even go on, what did you mean by that? Like, because in their minds, they thought you were trying to be something, and in your mind, you clearly had a different vision. Where did you get the vision that you had that wasn't aligning to what they thought in terms of their expectation of you?
Well, I saw it from the aspect of, if I'm in a plumbing truck and I'm wrenching, who's selling the job? Who's selling tomorrow's job? Who's booking out months? Who's following up with the customer? Who's grooming himself, studying, reading, polishing in order to go to a customer and be a little bit better than the next guy? And that was me. I was like, I had to dedicate hours of day to study, because I didn't go to college. I had some college, very minor credits that I earned. And most of those credits earned in the military, and did a few months of college, and that's it. And I sucked at it. Just didn't try, I guess. But I had to polish myself. I grew up in the ghetto. I'm a brown kid from the ghetto. Like, the way they talk where I grew up, it's terrible. I can't go to somebody that lives in, I live and work. I wouldn't say live, but I work in one of the most affluent areas in the country. Let's say in California, you got East Coast, you got Manhattan. Here you got Atherton. Nancy Pelosi lives there. Schwarzenegger's got a house there, and that's one of our biggest customer base. You got Ben Horowitz, all these Silicon Valley tycoons. They live here. We service their houses. We service their plumbing. I can't show up talking like a kid from the ghetto. They don't want that around them. I got to show up a little bit better than the average guy. I can't show up. You got the plumber crack. You got the fat plumber with the bearded fat plumber with showing crack and working under the sink. That whole cliche, it doesn't work with me. My guys are polished. They look good, and I constantly try to. I almost pick out their uniforms, and I polish them enough, and I really, really stress for them to continue improving their vocabulary. How do they sound? I come down hard on how they follow up on a call. I script it for them. I have to, right? But shoot, where was I going with that?
Well, I was just asking of, and you answered this perfectly. Just what you were focusing on and what you knew needed to be done, while these guys were cracking jokes, thinking that you wanted to be, this star plumber, and they're comparing you to other plumbers, and you're like, yeah, but that's, in your mind, you're like, that's not even where I want to go. I imagine maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine that in your mind, you're like, you just watch and see. You just watch and see, mm-hmm. because I see something that you don't see clearly, and you're focusing your energies thinking that I want to do something that I don't even want to do, and it's for the greater good of this company. And so I am sure that the competitive nature in you and the mission-driven, focused person that's in you wanted to prove something in the end that you knew was going to be. So what was that turning point like? What did it take for them to see, oh man, Sam is the real deal. He's the real deal.
To piggyback on that, and glad you brought that up. On an ODA, you got to earn your keep every day.
Okay, wait, sorry. Let me pause, because you mentioned ODA before. For those of
operational on a special forces team.
Okay, sorry, you cut out. Say that again. ODA stands for what?
Operational Detachment Alpha on a team, on an A team. On that show, there's an A team. So an A team is comprised of 12 guys, and where it's competitive. If you're not improving, and you're not getting better, and you're not pulling your weight, from the commander to the lowest guy, you find yourself out in the hallway. It's you get voted off the island really, really quick. So it's a very, very competitive environment where you're working with the best. These guys are just extremely competitive. Everybody is. You go out for a run, and who's going to win? You got 12 guys that would just run to exhaustion. It doesn't matter. Everything you do is competitive, and it's great. I get to go hang out with them here on this coming Tuesday. We get these drills on the guard side, but your reputation, when you're going through the course, they say your reputation starts here at the Q course, right? Or even before you show up. Everybody seems to know everybody. You're always one person away from knowing each other. I don't care where I go. I go to 10th group. I can go over to, Florida, 7th group, 3rd group in Fayetteville. And you come across a guy and you're like, hey, man, I may not know you, but you're always one person away. So it's like, hey, do you know this guy? Oh, yeah, of course I know that guy. Oh, I was just with him yesterday. Oh, yeah, of course I went through the Q course with him. Everybody seems to know each other. You're always one person away. With very few exceptions. So everybody, when it's in a community where everybody knows everybody, if you don't pull your weight, if you cowered on a mission, if you're a jump refuser, which doesn't seem to happen very often, but you fall out of a run, you get fat, any of these things, you fail to perform, that word gets around quick because everybody knows each other. When somebody asks for you, oh yeah, no, I do the shit. And nobody wants to be that, right? They've done everything they could to not be that shitbag, be a cut above the rest and belong to a team. So you don't want to fail, and your reputation is everything. You come in, you take that mentality and you bring it to the civilian world where being mediocre is just not, it's not that bad. Some people are. It doesn't matter. You go in a workplace environment where some guys are stellar performers and they excel. You come from somewhere where everybody excels and everybody's good and everybody's smart, everybody's fit. You go somewhere where they don't even want to be fit. They don't want to be the best. That blew my mind when I came to business, and I'm telling guys, like, what do you mean? Like, for me, bragging rights was enough, right? For them, it's like, well, why would I want to be the best? If I'm better, if I learn how to do this, then you're going to make me do it all the time. And I'm like, well, if you learn how to do this, then I can pay you more. You want a raise, right? It's like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, do you not want to be rich? No, I don't want to be rich.
Wow.
Everyone demonizes the rich, right? So in a culture where you're just good enough, and that's just where you want, that's the status quo, that's all you know. So to come from an environment from working in the teams in the business where they didn't want to be, that was a culture shock, right? And on top of that, yeah, did I want to be known as the best plumber? Maybe just for ego, but honestly, I didn't, because I got the mentality where, well, no, I don't have time to become the best plumber, but I'll be the owner who hires the best plumbers. That's where my mind was at, because I can't play catch up with these guys. These guys have been doing it for the last 12, 15 years. Even though I was doing it part-time, sometimes in the Army, most of my time was in the military. They've been working nonstop in this field. So I'm not going to learn what they have, but I'm going to use what they've learned, and I'm going to make money off of it. I'm the owner now. I got brought in a different capacity. Did I want to prove myself? Yeah, absolutely. You hit on the spot. There was guys that worked for the company, and I say worked, that wanted to see me fail. They didn't want that success story that I wanted. They wanted to see me fail, fall flat on my face, and fall in line with them. Crabs in a bucket. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You see the guy trying to crawl out of the bucket. He achieves some level of success. He's almost out of the bucket. You bring him down. He tries it again. You break his legs. Unfortunately, that seems to just thrive. I'm trying to change that culture among let's say my immediate culture here, the Hispanic culture, or any culture. But when success or being rich, having everything you ever wanted, following your dreams, isn't real for you, because you've never known it. It's never been an option. So what I ended up doing is I took something from the military, as I promoted from within, right? From the guys that I saw, or from the guy that I saw most capable, but was underappreciated, I saw what he had. I saw he had potential. So I began promoting him. And I wanted to create a success story from within where they could see, oh, well, it's not Sam because he's the nephew. Anybody can succeed, right? So I brought in a guy who I made my operations manager, and he was just a laborer. He just dug ditches, but I saw he had people would go to him for advice anyway because he's been doing it forever, right? And I said, okay, man, you're a foreman now. Later on, he was working. All right, man, you're my operations manager. Put him on salary, decent salary, and I gave him a boatload of responsibility. And people started kind of seeing. Everybody started seeing what I saw in the guy because I put him in the right position. And from one of the lowest level guys, I promoted him. We're now at this point, even the most senior guys that were, the best salesman, the best project managers, they now go to him for advice because I put him in the position to learn. We had a lot of meetings, where I talked to him, I mentor him, I push him. Even though he knew everything, he'd never been in a leadership position. And I began to mentor him in that it worked that I became a better leader, trying to make him a better leader. I had to go out and study how to be a leader. I mean, I started really picking up John C. Maxwell, started picking up his book, was Developing the Leader Within. It's a great book. Started kind of studying that in that series of books. And I'd get up in the morning, I'd read through that stuff, and then I'd come to the shop all wired up on coffee, and I'd pull them into my office, and I'd regurgitate everything I learned. That was me. Like I learned it, right? Even though I had just learned it that morning. So I'd write notes and everything. I'd come in and I'd start training him. And he started getting to a position where he started having a little bit more authority. Everybody started seeing the authority. And then I was able to use him as an example. Like, hey, do you want to go make, you want to make all this money? Well, anybody can do it. This guy who, even his language skills aren't 100%. Doesn't matter. He's great with customers. He's happy. He can be understood enough, right? Some of the guys, they were, hey, you know what? My English isn't that good, right? So he goes out. The example I always use, like, all right, man, go to Wells Fargo. Like everybody goes to Wells Fargo, right? Or wherever the bank, the local bank here. I said, half the time you got the Asian lady that you can't understand her English, right? But she works at a bank. She dresses up really nice. And is her English perfect? No, you can hardly understand her. She gets the point across, and that's what's important. If you see her and all her fancy clothes and the pretty necklaces, and no, she's not Hispanic, she's Asian, but it doesn't matter. You got to stop viewing yourself in the light that, oh, I'm not going to excel because my English isn't that good. I said, I point out the guys. I said, look at Francisco, look at Andy. Their English sucks. They still, they started going to school, night school, started learning sales. I got the Cardone University for the guys, and I signed them all up. Big investment for a company our size. Just to jump on there, get the classes. Even if you answer everything wrong, I don't care. Start listening to how people talk or how people should talk. What if you pull something out of there and you're able to use it? Great. But it starts putting you in the right mindset. So guys started doing it. They started improving. Sales started going up, and it works, just trying to make other people better. And one thing I've been able to, and I fell upon is like, hey, the more I started mentoring the guys in the company, the better I became, because I had to go learn all of it, then apply it. Had some leadership training, which the military is one of the best leadership experiences or experiments ever, right? They teach you to be a leader, and you have to be. You always got a guy. You're always working yourself out of a job. Started doing that here. I didn't become the best plumber, but I started mentoring the guys. And sometimes I know plumbing. Sometimes I jump. Last week, I jumped in the ditch, and started digging, started putting the pipes together, and I start calling the guys out and say, "This is how fast you should be doing it." And I just start, I don't do any dry fitting. I just like, hey, I need this size, this size, this size. I'm gluing and calling out sizes with my tape measure and glue. And I'm putting all this piping together, and I look at it and I was like, that's how fast I expect you to do it. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute, he is a good plumber. They forget, So sometimes I got to do a little bit of reminder, or sometimes jobs going bad. The guys are tired. I'll get a little digging, and I start helping them dig, start getting it done. I got to lead from the front.
Yeah.
I got to show nobody is above digging. Nobody is above anything else. I've hired some guys where but they come onto the company and they don't want to dig. They don't, oh, I'm above that. I have good language skills or whatever they might be, however they see themselves. And I got the other guys like, hey, you know what? Sam jumps and ditches and digs with us when we're backed up. He shows up. It's hard for him not to work. I show up with my Wooby shoes. They're great, very comfortable shoes, but they're not steel toe. So I'm not supposed to be digging with the guys, but I show up from the office. I want to go check up on a job. I find myself digging and showing them, leading them by example. Right. But yeah, man, it's a challenge every day. It's rewarding at the end of the day, being able to train guys and develop. My biggest thing for 2020, I told my office, I said, hey, what we have to do this year, our main focus of the company is development. It all changed because of the COVID thing, right? But my main focus was like, hey, you got guys that are slackers that have potential. Let's develop them. Let's mentor them. Everybody has to pick. My office staff, you met him, Marin, Bo, and all those guys. And I said, everybody's got to pick a guy, and you're going to make him better. So I wanted to reproduce what happened to me with Francisco, where I studied, I got better, and I taught the guys. That also gives like, hey, on their time off, what are they doing? Are they studying Cardone so then they can talk about it and tell you during a sales class? Of course, right? Are they going back and picking up books? Are their interests begin to start changing? Because now they have a responsibility to train somebody beneath them and make them better. In the process of making that guy better, he becomes better himself. And you start working your way out of a job and into a promotion. So that's something that I do here. Always pulling guys in. As far as the success story, some of the guys weren't around or they see it now. There's some guys that were team, they were team Mutt, so they were my uncle's fans. Now they don't find themselves here. I ended up getting rid of a lot of those guys, kind of cleaning house. And if you don't believe in me, you're not going to do what I say. You got to go. You got to find. Some of them just started kind of leaving, but it's fine. Or the guys that were here, they started becoming a cancer and started kind of, telling the other guys, that they had to be right. At the end of the day, it's human nature. They're like, oh, what? Sam doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, when Juan was here, or when this guy used to work here, things were so much better. And they remember it with some sort of nostalgia that it's like, no, I mean, yeah, things were good. Now things are, in my opinion, better. Financially, they're better. Guys are making more money. Guys are definitely making more money.
Well, yeah. How much did that change? If you care to share even the numbers portion, or how you've grown in terms of how many trucks and how many employees and.
We grew a little bit since last time you were here. I brought it up to about 32 employees. Trucks, I don't know, 20 something. It's dump trucks and machinery and stuff that's not used every day. I tweaked some things where I have the technicians. I like to keep it around 6 to 8 technicians, and those technicians have got to go out and produce work. I stress on these guys. It's your responsibility to, one, provide more work for the other guys. You guys have to, look for things to sell. I send you, it's got to be sold because you got to get the other guys working. So I had to because of the COVID thing, I had to let some guys go, unfortunately. So I think we're back down to about 20, 27, 26 guys probably. And, but with this COVID thing, I was able to let go of some guys that were pretty good performers. But if I had to let them go, I did. Some of them I will be bringing back when this is all over. I applied for the PPP thing through Wells Fargo and got one letter to correct the number, and that's it. I guess it all went somewhere else, but no big deal. We'll be fine regardless. If I get it, great. If I don't, then I'm not gonna fail because of this.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you find yourself in that? How did you find yourself in that position where you're less you're not worried necessarily about the current condition that we're in, right, for your business and the COVID-19 crisis?
I don't worry. I would say I would be lying if I don't think about it, but I don't stress out as much as maybe other people have that I see around me. I take a different approach to it. I said, okay, well, it's different, and I've got to adapt, and I've got to overcome it, and things are going to change. I may have to lower my prices. I may have to let go of some guys, unfortunately, but I've got to adapt to it. Does that mean I've got to pick up the phone and start following up? Do I got to look back on estimates? Do I have to express some vulnerability? I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm a small business inside the Silicon Valley. There's massive companies, and I could throw a stone and hit Facebook from here where I'm at. So that is okay. I'm around so much other business owners that when I'm out there, and then I'm out there chasing sales, following up, calling people, and if I got to show them some vulnerability, I just tell them like, hey, look, I gave you a quote back in May of 2018. Have you done the project yet? No, we've been holding off, this, that, and the other. I said, well, it's great. I've got to keep my guys busy, so I wanted to follow back up. I know you need the work, and so you do as well. And I'm willing to drop the price a little to keep my guys on payroll. I got to sacrifice a little bit of the profit, but I want to get this done for you. It's I just tell them, like, I've got to keep the guys busy. I don't want to put them all on unemployment. Then I get rid of really good talent. These guys may or may not come back. Maybe they just like unemployment. I do my best to get people off of government services and anything like that. I want to sell them the idea that they can make it the way my family did, and it's true because we've proven it. And I want to get them away from for lack of a better word, like government handouts, right? Get them in, hey, give them as much hours, try to boost their pay. I've done some pay increases and lowered my profit margin and kept the guys busy throughout this whole time. Yeah. And honestly, a lot of faith, man. My brother put it well yesterday. It's like, hey, right now, before you kind of boast about what you have. And I would call my brothers and my competitors like, dude, I'm booked for like 3 months. I sold this job, massive amount of money. I know exactly what I'm doing for the next 2 or 3 months. It feels great. My brother says, yeah, you can't do that anymore. Now you got to rely on God, right? So, going back to those roots, it is that way. You got to be chasing it every day. Time is different. Everything's different right now. It may never be the same ever again. It's just, but if I approach it from, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna take some time off. I've done great for the last 2 years. I'm in the position where I would be able to close down the shop, go down and cultivate some avocados down in Mexico, family business down there, and just chill out for 2 or 3 months. So the whole thing blows over. I'll be fine financially because my overhead costs, if I shut everything down and I pay everybody, I think I'll still be fine. I'll still come back with enough money to kick this thing back up and running. But what about the guys? I can't sacrifice the guys because it's not. And I've had to, and I hate doing it, but I've had to remind the guys about that fact. I was like, I'm not doing this for me right now. The only reason I sold this job, we're not making any money on this job. It's a floater job. We're getting this thing done so that you get a paycheck. Don't screw this up, and don't try to drag your feet on this job. Don't do like, hey, you know what? We're gonna put in all our complete 8 hours and get some overtime off this job. It's like, you're only screwing yourself. So don't screw me right now. I could take off any moment. I'll be completely fine. I can weather this. I've got Dave Ramsey and all of his stuff. Great guy. I met him, and I was put away. I got that emergency fund. I drank the Kool-Aid. I put money away for rainy days. I'd be fine. 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years, and I live within my means. So I tell the guys, hey, and I hate to do it, but I was like, guys, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for you. I need your help. It's just, it's a different time. We're chasing those jobs. You sometimes gotta lower the bids, but sometimes you gotta come across as you gotta show some vulnerability, but you keep the guys going. You gotta take care of your guys.
Yeah,
I think that's
man. You've given us so much wisdom, and you've shared such a powerful story of just determination, taking what you've been given and making it better, and like taking care of it and just making it better, not just for you, but for your team, for your company. And I think those are powerful words to end on.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in today. For more information, go to housecallpro.com.